Rothko in his paintings always sought to achieve a certain drama. The entire decade of the 50s is spent getting to this point where he moves to an inward state. He moves to a place that is really seeking to create something pure, essential, and thoroughly contemplative. And this is a period from which he never returns. It completely shifts the remaining decade of his career. Rothko is an artist who was constantly interested in color theory. He was interested in how the colors and the forms interacted within the expanse of the canvas in order to provoke an optical experience for the viewer. Now, in his earlier works, Rothko played with a variety of different contrasts and tonalities. There were bright oranges, reds, blues, purples, and the interplay between these different colors is what really created the power and the majesty of his work. Now, in 1958, Rothko's whole palette transforms into the darker, more somber, meditative palette intended to provoke in the viewer an immersive, completely awe-inspiring event. And in Black on Maroon, we see Rothko begin embarking on this entire conceptual project for the very first time. When you stand in front of this picture, the title in itself is misleading. It is not black. In fact, it is such a deep and rich and almost indefinable array of colors within these, what he calls black forms. It's blues, it's rich dark burgundies, it's blacks, it's grays. All of these colors fuse together to form the very optical experience that Rothko is endeavoring to create. In 1958, Mark Rothko was invited to paint a commission of murals for the then Four Seasons restaurant at the Seagram building. His initial intent was to completely cover the walls of the Four Seasons restaurant to create a completely immersive environment. Eventually, Rothko infamously declined to present the murals to the Four Seasons restaurant. The very depth and emotional core and profundity of the paintings moved Rothko to such an extent that he couldn't see them placed in any kind of commercial environment. The Seagram murals marked this point in Rothko's career where the paintings moved ever more inward, and simultaneously, so it became for the viewer. When you stand in the room at the Tate amidst the Seagram murals, you focus as much on what surrounds you as what's inside of you. When you step into the room, your eyes have to adjust to the colors on the walls. It's not dissimilar to the experience one has when standing in front of Black on Maroon. It evolves over time in your eye and in your mind. It's something that is constantly moving, yes, because of the colors, but also because of the brushwork. It was in these paintings from the late 50s where Rothko almost seemed to accelerate the velocity of his brush. It's ever faster, which is what creates the kind of feathery nature of the zones of color within this painting. These are zones of color that are not static at all. And even in this picture, they seem to have a vertical lift. They seem to be rising upward. There's a magnetic force in this picture, which I think is accentuated by the reduction in the colors. It's a painting in which the zones of color abut one another, but are constantly pushing and pulling, advancing and receding, interacting with the foreground and the background as much as they are interacting with the viewer's eye. What's exciting about this painting is that it distills the entire drama, power, and impact of a room-scale installation that the Seagram murals were intended to comprise into a painting that is much more human scale. Rothko intended for his easel paintings to be proportional to the human body. This is that. This is a painting that when one stands before it, you are able to recognize yourself inside of it. You can enter it and experience it, and yet it resounds with the same kind of visual power that an entire room of the Seagram murals invokes.